Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Marianne Hauser, and I'm the founder and master coach at Serendipity Action Coach of Central North Carolina. Today, we have Douglas Greene, founder of Kre8ive U, with us, and he's going to share with us what it's like to start a nonprofit that teaches music and cinematography as a vehicle to teach STEAM learning to kids from ages 13 to 19. And I think he's even expanding his program. We're going to learn so much from him about this amazing initiative. And, I've known Douglas for years now. I think we maybe even met during COVID when he was launching this, and the growth and success he's had. I can't wait to hear more about the journey that he's had in launching this amazing program. So if this is your first time on our channel, be sure to hit like and subscribe so that you get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. Make sure now, like and subscribe. So welcome, Douglas. It's so good to see you again.
Right. It's been some years. I mean, I believe we started with you guys in 2019, pre-COVID. It was definitely pre-COVID. So I'm quite sure it was 2019 that we actually were in your office, but it was actually before that our first contact with you. I think it was probably 2018 when
Wow.
our first
Time
contact.
flies, huh?
Yeah, it's moving. It's
It is
moving.
moving.
I
So,
mean, we're
I
in,
gave, go ahead.
I was gonna say we've been doing this for 8 years. I surprised myself the other day. I was like,
Wow. I know I'm in year 15 this year. So yeah, but when you're doing what you love, time does go fast.
that's
So
right.
just because I gave a brief intro going in, just give the audience an overview of your organization, what your key focus is, and how you got started doing this.
Well, it got started generally when the idea came across me many, many years ago, like 40 years ago. And I wanted to teach music production and cinematography to kids. Um, and I wanted, at that time, computers weren't what they are now. And also we needed a building, we needed all these different things. And we needed $3 million for the gear to upgrade the building, to do all the things. We couldn't get that kind of financing especially as young guys. And so that stayed with me for years. By the time I was about 55, I went to school. I went to Full Sail, and I had been doing production most of my life. I had a hit record out called Lock It Up. I played with major artists, George Benson to Sister Sledge to Black Ivory, Blue Magic. I mean, just a ton of
Oh my
so I've
goodness.
been doing this for years. So I went back to school. I went to Full Sail University and graduated with my bachelor's in music production. And just because I was a glutton for punishment, I decided to go back and do my master's. And I did my master's for innovation and entrepreneurship. And with that master's, I actually sandboxed Kre8ive U, my company, through that. And so that wound up being a good basis. I've had businesses all my life, but I wanted to do this right, and get everything right from the start, which is impossible. That doesn't happen. But anyway, that was my goal, was to do everything right from the start. During that, I graduated from my master's at 60 years old, and I was a 4.0, and I was the valedictorian of my class. So
Wow, good for
so
you.
so that was 8 years ago. So that tells you a little bit about my age. But so that was 8 years ago, and we started this company during that program. And so what happened was I had to do a report for a class, and it was basically a proposal on how we're going to put together. And I still had this mindset: we needed a building, we still needed $3 million. So I got an A on the project, but then my instructor called me that night, and she said, "Hey, look, I love what you're doing. I love your idea, but nobody's going to give you $3 million. Here we are. I'm getting the same response I got 40 years ago." So, and I was upset. So I was running around the house, kind of, saying, I'm with the Lord, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I can get it. I've been doing this in churches. I've been doing this all over the place. And it said, slow down. Did you hear what you just said? And I realized I had been doing classes on and off in churches and schools and people in different places. I don't need a building. So that night I changed the whole process of what we do and changed I just totally iterated everything to where we have gear and we actually give the equipment to our instructors. And because we don't have a location, we can go to any campus anywhere in the United States. I can do classes. So we now have over 50 instructors, and we have classes from, North Carolina State U to Elizabeth City State University to St. Aug's University to North Carolina, UNC Charlotte, UNC Asheville. So we're from, you can't go no further east than Elizabeth City, and almost no further west than Asheville, and filling in between. We've been in over 30 locations in the last 8 years. We have repeat customers doing summer camps and after school programs. We've actually been in school. We've actually been we've actually taught music production in school sessions for charter schools, especially during prior to the pandemic and during the pandemic. We were able to iterate and very quickly to online and be able to teach online. Because of that, we lost all our contracts first in 2020 because of COVID, and then we gained contracts back because we were quickly um, able to change over to being able to teach online and virtually. So we
Well,
won.
boy, you are like the perfect example of, first of all, if there's a will, there's a way. And when things aren't going your way, don't panic, pivot, right?
Pivot, yeah. And we
So
pivoted.
I'm gonna,
The crazy thing was we already had the plans. We had planned to go online in 2021. So I had planned that in 2018.
so you were
So it
ahead of your
was sitting on the
time.
shelf. So it was like blow the dust off and here we go.
That's wonderful. So tell me a little bit, I know you said it's a nonprofit. Are you the sole founder? Are there other people involved in the decision making within the organization, or are you the main guy?
I'd get in trouble if I had said that, but no, I'm not the main guy. I am definitely the founder. I'm the sole founder and I'm the executive director, but I work to the pleasure of the board. So we do have an executive board. Some of the people on our board, for instance, one of the young ladies, she is the director for HR for New York City schools. So she's deep. We have a mayor, and he's a mayor of I think Fayetteville, I forget, but he's out of West Virginia. And he's a mayor, but he also works with he works with people that are dealing in court situations, and he helps them out and he works with. So he's got experience in that arena. We have another person on the board that had been previously incarcerated. We needed to tell you, we needed a very eclectic board for the simple reason that we're now doing one of the things we expanded into was restorative justice with middle school and high school age kids. So we are now involved with contracts with counties where we get kids from the courts and so we do more vocational studies with them,
Oh,
teaching them
that's
how to do
wonderful.
music production, and audio production, editing and things like that, and how to make money doing it. Not a rap class, but how to actually do podcasts like this, how to edit the audio in podcast, how to do Foley, ADR, which is automatic dialogue replacement, those kind of things. We teach them these kind of careers that are in the audio and engineering field, and also cinematography, lighting, camera work, and all those kind of things.
Oh my
So,
goodness, how
so
wonderful.
yeah, so we're teaching those. we're teaching kids to do that and hope that it lowers recidivism, first of all. Second of all, it helps these kids. Some of them not going to go to college. It's fine, but they're going to come out and they have other choices to be able to make money, to be able to support their families, and getting them to understand that there are these careers. There's a lot of careers people don't know. Zoom, we're on a Zoom call right now, right? This doesn't work without audio.
Yep.
So there's a whole audio engineering department
And
for
we have
Zoom.
a whole company that's going to edit this at the end, and we're employing numerous people between the folks who help us take this and market it, to the folks who help us create it, to the folks who do all the editing. So yes, it's an amazing career field that you can have in so many different venues. And how wonderful that you're teaching it to kids who are at risk, because they don't know if you don't know what you don't know, right? And
Right, exactly.
we're opening doors and opening their horizons, which is brilliant.
So the object is along with this, it's a safe place. So they may be doing a script for a movie and it's really a conversation that they want to have with their parents. So it may be a horror story.
Mhm.
And like we have one kid that's doing a script right now, and it's supposed to be horror, and it's an imaginary person that's supposed to be bad, and bad mother and this good mother, but at the end of the thing, you find out the bad mother is actually the one that she's dealing with in real life. So it's a turnaround. It's kind of sweet. But the coolest thing is, during the script writing and doing learning, they're very safe to understand, to be able to communicate their problems and their challenges. And
Yeah.
because we have instructors that are very sensitive to their issues and challenges, that there's also, I can't officially say it's mentoring, but because we're not certified mentors, but we have mature men and women that are teaching these subjects, and they're very, very sensitive to these type things and allow the children to talk, the students to talk and get it out. But it's because they're doing see, the coolest thing is they're doing it not to, they do it very safely because it's for a script.
Right, because
You
it's
see,
not real,
so
right?
they're
So
taking,
isn't that what
so
the arts is all about, right?
it's so cool. It works so well.
I mean, you
You know,
talk about it's technology and cinematography, but it's really the arts. I mean,
exactly,
it's a beautiful
exactly.
thing. So if we look at your role in the organization, what is your role specifically? How much time do you spend actually working with the kids and putting the programs on versus running the business and figuring out future strategy?
Okay, I spend a whole lot of time. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading and research all the time. I'm always looking for new things that we can. Right now, we are actually merging AI into our programs with the kids, to teach them how to use AI as a tool, and not as a crutch, but a tool. And that meant that I had to really go and I'm one that I got to do it before I get anybody else to do it or instructors to teach it or anything like that. I got to understand it all. So I did deep dives on AI and prompting and things of that nature to create a curriculum. But yeah, I spend a lot of time. I haven't gotten into that level that you all teach, where the business runs by itself. I'm going there. I'm going there.
It sounds like it.
I'm
It
going
sounds
there.
like it.
I'm going there. I have a great team. I have a great team. I need a few more people on the team, but I have a really, really great team. They are cross-pollinated, so they can do each other's job if needed, but they have their specific job. We learned that. One of the things we learned is, I had a program director, and he was doing. I had loaded him down. I mean, the dude was loaded. He was loaded down with so many tasks. I was loaded down with so many tasks. And he really literally had, I wouldn't, like, kind of a nervous breakdown. and he left. He left at a real hard time. It was a growth spurt at that time. We had over 15 new camps that we were new camps. So we had about 20 some odd camps altogether. And they were starting on Monday. He left on a Friday. So that was a wake-up call that I need cross-pollination. So what we did was we took his salary, what he was making on a full-time basis, and we turned that into 4 part-time basis. and we're able to afford 4 different people that separated that one job, but still spent the same amount. The company's still spending the same amount of money, and I have very happy people because they're not overwhelmed. They're not overwhelmed, and they do it because they love it. And they're getting paid, but they do it because they love it. And so I've gotten a real great team. So I'm working on that, being able to, I forget what you call the level, but that level where the business works for itself, I'm getting
Yep.
there.
So
I'm
you're
getting
past mastery. I want to actually talk about the next level, which we used to call niche. We really focus in now and call it our level of sales and marketing. So if we think about marketing your business, are you working to market it to school systems? Who are you trying to target so that you can expand? What is your expansion target?
It's in several different directions. We spend a lot of time on first of all, obviously we do summer camps. Um, Let me start this way. When you're starting a business, even a nonprofit, the thing that makes us different than other nonprofits when we go for contracts with JCPC, juvenile crime prevention councils, when we go to these meetings and we do presentations, the coolest thing is we have contract. We're not dependent on grants. We're not dependent on anybody giving us. We don't have donations. We're a nonprofit. And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I didn't know anything about running a nonprofit. So the first thing I did was went out and sell. And I got contracts. So the first thing we did was we started in Lexington School District, and I sat with the superintendent at that time, and I sold the company to him, and we had parents that were paying monthly fees for their kids to be in. We had about 8 kids that were in the class, and that was our first actual. I mean, I did an MPV, minimal viable product, MVP in my church. And then once I tested it out, saw that there was a need and all those kind of things, then I went to the school district. That worked until that model of charging parents worked until the electric prices, heat prices went up in the winter. Then we had people not paying us. And I can't stand being a new company and doing collections. So that didn't happen. So I kept the company going. And one thing I did do was I had somebody with me that I was teaching how to do the class so I could get loose so I could make more sales. So the money we were getting in, only like two of our pupils were actually paying. And that was enough to pay the instructor to replace me. And I replaced myself on that so I could do some other work. Because of being able to do that, we wound up getting into we wound up doing the same thing in Thomasville schools. But together we found out that charging parents is just not the greatest model. It just doesn't.
Not unless you get them to pay everything up front.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. And I got too much of a heart to be able to. So but because of keeping that up and doing it, what we did, we got Fox 8 or Fox did an expose on us. We got all kind of newspaper articles. So to answer your question, all that helped marketing and sales, you know. So we have documentation where we did things, we did good things, we did good works. Because of that, we wound up going into TRIO programs. TRIO is Upward Bound and Talent Search. I did one presentation in Gaston schools, Gaston College, excuse me, and they hired us that summer for doing a summer camp.
And
And
then you're being paid by the institution, not
there
by
you go.
individuals.
Right.
That's what
So
makes the
that
difference.
opened the door. Once you do one trio program, you do all. You can do all of. So all these campuses we've been on is mostly trio programs. Trio programmings for summer camps and after school programs and all those kind of things.
You know, one of the things you said just a few moments ago was, we're a nonprofit, but we still have to make money. And not
Yeah,
only do you have to make money, you actually have to make profit if you want to grow and be sustainable, right? Not that somebody's going to benefit specifically off the profit, but that the individual nonprofit benefits off of the profit. And it's amazing how many nonprofits don't think with a business mindset. So thank goodness that you've got the entrepreneurial spirit and the business sense to take this where it really could make the biggest impact.
and we work with another nonprofit, some other nonprofits, and I hear them hiring people, and they hire people saying, well, you're never gonna get rich working for a nonprofit. You're not gonna make a lot of money, but you're doing good work. Like, I can't talk like that about my company. I want our in we started off, we're still paying $20 an hour for our instructors. We pay them for an extra hour over their teaching time. So because we want them there early. So if they're teaching for 2 hours, we pay them for three. If they're teaching for 6 hours, we pay them for seven. Right. So that's been the way we do. We give them all the gear that they need, all the support that they need. We have a platform called Workplace where we got the Workplace found that we were using during COVID, we were using their platform for as an LMS, a learning management platform. And we were the only ones in the world using their platform. So they found this out and they did a case study on it. We're actually on Meta's website in a case study. We actually have a video where they're giving us award for Small to Medium Business and Excellence Award for the year during COVID because of being able to convert to online and be able to use so we did so many things just by being in the right place and doing the right things, and just like you said, just taking lemons and turning it into lemonade constantly, on a constant basis. The thing that you got to always remember is that if you have a business, you got to be able to um you got to be able to handle you first of all, you got to be able to take credit for the mistakes. You have to own up to mistakes. You got to say, okay, yeah, I messed that up. I flopped that.
So,
You
you know
know,
what? Because this is an educational podcast for other business owners, talk to me about a mistake you made and how you overcame it and how it impacted the growth of your business.
uh well, I mentioned one, starting out with charging parents rather than going through that's one. I mean, there's a ton of them. There's a ton of them. Hiring, 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 and people passing background and drug tests, but still wind up coming to, and we felt it. We felt it during the interview that they were gonna mess up a class, and they wound up coming to class high, and that was something that actually kind of almost if we didn't have the proper policies and procedures and written and trained our instructors, it could have banged back on us. But we know the instructor was trained. We had kept it with our policies and procedures. Um, Other kind of things with employees. We've hired over 100 employees. We have over 50 on roster at the moment. Um, we have over 50 on. I'm sorry, we have over 50 there on roster at this moment. So, um, learning how to manage them, learning that. Oh, the other thing, like I said, trying to run the business with only two, three people, and growing and stressing out people, you know, um, that is a no-no.
Because
Being
what you
able,
realize is that every time you bring on the right people, it allows you to grow and scale and it covers their salary. And
exactly.
you wind up being less stressed and the business can scale easier. And so many people think I'm going to bootstrap it and do it all myself. And that's the part that makes it a real struggle for businesses to grow.
Well, I believe in bootstrapping. I bootstrapped this business. The first classes I did, I took my studio out of I packed up my studio back in the boxes, put it in the car, set it up at the school, took it down, put it back in the box. But I taught the kids how to put it in the boxes, keep it clean, and all that kind of stuff, and took it and set up my studio at the house again. That's how I did it. I mean, I did not take a loan. I didn't. This company has no loans, doesn't owe anybody, I mean, normal bills, but but it doesn't have any loans. We have no debt, you know. So because I truly believe in using what you have to create a business. I truly
Mhm.
there's always a way. But what nonprofits and for-profits do, they sit in a room and they close off the door and they put together a business plan that has nothing to do with solving a problem that their customers want. So I tell my students, I said, okay, I got a flat tire. So it's obviously I need a new tire. So the solution is being able to go to a tire store. However, if the tire is $5,000 and my car is only worth six, I'm going to just buy another car. That I'm not willing to pay that price to solve that problem. So
Mhm.
there's all kind of things that you have to think about when you're solving people's problems. And if you're not solving a problem, then what are you doing? And if you're not understanding your client's journey and if you're not understanding their point of pain, what are you doing? Because that's what we want to talk about is their pain. We want to talk about where they're going, their destination. We're just a bridge.
Yeah.
That's all we are is a bridge. I don't want to talk about the bridge. I want to talk about your destination because the
So
bridge is the solution. But nobody needs a bridge until they get to a river that they can't cross, right?
absolutely right.
And then you got to look at, well, what are you doing? Because now I made a hammer, but so then everything looks like a nail. No, that doesn't work either. So there's certain things that you have to be aware of and be able to um to do on a constant basis. And like I said, it's constant. I have taken credit for so many mistakes. I take credit for the mistakes of my people that work for me. Because when they make a mistake, I say, that wasn't in the policy manual. Why didn't I think of that? That's my fault. Why didn't I train them this? Why didn't I tell them that?
Well, that's a
But
testament to your growth,
you
right?
know,
It's the
you
business
got to do
owners
that.
who don't do that, who are the ones that stifle the growth in their company. So
Right.
that actually answers one of the questions I was going to ask. How do you describe your leadership style in the business and how has it changed from when you first started to today?
I have to say, I mean, I'm just more experienced, but I don't think I've changed my style. I came into this and I still am like, I want everybody that deals with Kre8ive U to, I want it to be like Apple or Google or any. I want when one of our employees come home and tell their wife or their family, "Hey, I work for Kre8ive U." It's like, wow, you work for Kre8ive U. I want that kind. That's the kind of response that I want them to be able to get. I want people the students that come through our program when they say, I'm in a program, the Kre8ive U. What? You're in a Kre8ive U pro? I want that. I've always wanted that. That's what holds me down. That's what that's my litmus test. That's my pole, my light post that I'm always aiming for. That is what I want.
So you've got this big vision, right? And you've got the emotional part behind it. How do you approach goal setting, given that vision that you've just shared with us, that you want to be almost the household name? Oh, look at that. We've
Yeah, I
got
don't get it.
balloons.
Where's the balloons come from?
We'll talk about that later. I'll teach you how to do that later. You sometimes have to be careful. Um, where do you see your business going in the next 3 to 5 years? And how do you set those goals to get there? Because you've clearly got the emotional vision.
I write a lot. If you look at my Google Drive, there's got to be at least 100 documents in there now of plans and things that I study and things that I think of and ideas that, like I said, in 2017 or 18, I had already figured we're going to do online classes, and the goal was 2021. So I had already knew who we're going to use. I knew what companies we're going to do. I already knew. I did all the research, and that was sitting in Google Docs on a shelf, So I already did the work. So it took us a month to actually just market it, and we had wound up with 60 something odd students, which was from adults. We did adults too online. We did older adults. We did young adults. We had high school and middle schoolers, and we had kids. We had students from California to Maryland that were in our classes online, and we did those for free. That was our MVP for doing online, because we needed to experience and needed to get the experience online. So we did over I think several hundred hours, a couple hundred hours of online training in 2 months. So that was the idea. We did it for free so we could learn and find out the best ways to do everything, the best way to get it to be more like in person and so forth. And we had our instructors do it. We had all of us got that experience. Because of that, when schools started going into online education, they were like calling us because they said, "Can you all do online? Because we're trying to learn how to reading, writing, and arithmetic online, and we don't have a clue of how to do music online. Can you do it?" And we wound up being the music classes on electives during school for several schools, uh, charter schools.
Isn't
So
that wonderful?
and we do alternative schools also. Yeah.
So
So
we're coming to the end of our time. This story, I could talk to you for hours because the story is so amazing. But we're going to go into what we call our rapid fire questions. So these are short answers because we're going to use these to make sure that all the other business owners that listen at least hear this part of it. So number one, rapid fire question: what is the key to success for you?
well, it's two things. Know your product, know what it is that you do, and always take responsibility for the mistakes.
Beautiful. Next one. What is one piece of advice that you would give to another business owner?
Get out of the office.
Get out of the office. I love that one. I could use that advice sometimes too, because I get stuck here. What's one book that you're reading now or you have read most recently that you would recommend?
I read more articles than books. Tell you the truth, I do a lot on Medium. I read a lot of Medium articles. It kind of knows what I'm looking for. I'm doing more studying now on different subjects, and I need things that are directly to what I need.
So
So
how do you find those articles? Maybe that's a great piece of
be,
advice.
I use several AIs. I use Perplexity, Chat GPT, Get Cody, and Gemini sometimes. And I look for subjects, I look for things that I need to study, and I use them for references to get me quicker to the websites and quicker to the information that I need to know. So I do deep down studies, and a lot of times I'll create blogs that I haven't even posted yet. I must have, along with another Google Drive, I have at least, I do it for me, but I write about certain things and I haven't released any of it. No, I haven't released most of them yet. So there's at least 70 blogs that I have not ever
And
released.
you're depriving the world of all of that knowledge. I think we're going to have to talk offline on how to get that out there. So my final rapid fire question is, if you had to choose one area of your business that you could, if you had a magic wand, you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
What I'm doing now, finances. financial planning, that's not my wheelhouse, never been. We're changing to a new system, a new company. And I think they're better. We're doing juvenile justice, and there's one county, I don't want to mention the name. They are sticklers beyond belief. I mean, for everything. They will send back an invoice because they want to know what card was used to pay that bill. I mean, it's mind-boggling. So we are moving to a company that is used to doing the work, the financial work for nonprofit, that has to answer these questions, that work with government contracts and things of that nature. So being able to have, you know who you're working with. We had a CPA, and I love her to life. Don't get me wrong. She worked for us basically almost in kind for 5 or 6 years. She's been the one, but she also does payroll. I mean, she's not payroll. She also does taxes. So in tax season, I can't get, things done. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but that was fine until you grow. So now when you're hitting a 500,000 and more, now you got other things you have to report on, monitoring and all kind of other stuff. And you got to go by the schedule of the people that are monitoring you. And so you can't have somebody that does their
Yep.
main one of their businesses is
And
taxes.
it doesn't matter what business you're in, finances are the language of business. And if you don't understand your numbers, you're never going to be able to understand how to grow and scale.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if people want to get in touch with Kre8ive U, what are your websites? How do people find you? Is there a best way to get in touch with you, Douglas, if people have questions about maybe launching a program in their organization or their
Yeah.
school?
Well, first of all, it's Kre8ivU, KRE, the number 8, IVU.com is our website. You can reach me at Douglas at kre8ivu.org. Spelled the Kre8ivu spelled the same way. It's spelled creatively. And our our phone number is 866-952-4938, or local, it is 980-288-CREATE.
And is it create
KRE8.
spelled, how do you spell
KRE, KRE8, 288 CREATE.
KRE8?
KRE8. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure I put all of that information down below the video when we upload onto YouTube. Again, if you have not already liked and subscribed this channel to get great future advice, like you've just gotten today from Douglas, please make sure you do that today. And I have one final question for you right now, Douglas. What is most inspiring to you?
Watching a student that came in and didn't want to speak, didn't want to do anything. He's there because he's been through adjudication, and he's there because he has to be there. And the next class, he's talking, he's smiling, and he's totally involved in the class. And that is why we're here. And totally engaged, 100%
Changing
engaged.
lives.
That's my fuel.
Yep. So, if somebody said, what's your vision for the company? I don't know what your vision is, but if I had to write it for you today, it's Kre8ive U is changing lives, right? That's
Yes,
the ultimate goal, and how you do it through media, through film production, through music, but you're changing the lives of people who, you don't know where they would be in 10 years if they didn't come through your
right.
program. And that's beautiful. That's just beautiful. So thank you so much for your time today, Douglas. Again, like and subscribe so that you can learn more amazing things like Douglas shared with us today. And you can make sure if you're interested in this program or you think your school system or organization needs to know more about it, the information will be in the description on this video as we post it on our YouTube channel. Thanks again. Douglas, I can't wait to catch up even more after this time. Take care, and we'll see
Thank
you
you very
next time
much.
on the Business Spotlight.
Thank you very much.